known Mohammed from Entrepreneurship Club at the University of Minnesota originally. So we go back for a while. Let me figure this out yet. Fun to work with next. Here we go. And the USB stick. That's later though, right? I'll help you with that. Okay, so we'll do the USB stick later. And I'll get you started here. Okay, so without further ado, let's give a welcome to Mohammed.
So thank you so much, everyone. I really want to reemphasize what Pat said about the community. I went to the U. I was at the U when I founded my company, Playtabase, in the Wearable Technology Lab. Hired 3 engineers from the Wearable Technology Lab. Knew Samir from lots of different events and Anila. Talked to them about the hackathon that they went to. Really phenomenal things in the community, and somebody who's in the community asked me to mention something really quickly. That's the Entrepreneur Kickoff next week on the 25th. You can learn more at www.mnentrepreneurs.org, and that's going to feature a lot of focus on early stage entrepreneurship. Last year I think they had Spark was one of the main companies in IoT. This year I'll be there and some other companies, but should be a good event. Okay. So let's see. So I'm Mohammed. A little bit quickly about me. I've known Patrick since we went to school together, I guess, in the Entrepreneurship Club, where I met a few of you guys and some several startup weekends and things of that nature. But the reason I'm here today is because while I was in my PhD program, writing my dissertation and also running a nonprofit, I founded Playtabase. And Patrick told me that this year there were a lot of folks who had signed up for this one that might not be, some of them might be designers because it's wearable, so I should talk a little bit about that aspect. So, you know, I looked deep inside and I said, okay, you know, why do we wear what we wear? Like really, why do we wear anything? Isn't it fun not to wear anything? I like it, but it's freezing outside. I mean, I don't mean I don't like, you know what I mean. Like, everybody in here, I assume, would like to walk around in shorts and a Hawaiian shirt instead of bundle up for the -22 wind chill, right? When I think about that kind of freedom, I remember a story that my dad told me, and I know there's lots of variations on this story, but just bear with me for a second. So, long time ago, there was this warrior king who was really, really strong, but not that smart. And he was going around conquering all these different continents and kingdoms and whatnot. And one of the kingdoms was like, okay, we don't want to get taken over. So they sent a couple guys over and they said, hey, we've got special armor. And this armor is almost invincible. And only the smartest and the strongest people can see it. You look invincible. Like nobody can see that you've got it, but you're actually invincible. And you'll be completely free. You'll feel completely unencumbered. And he was like, wow, that's great, yeah. This, of course, is the emperor with no clothes. The thing about it is, there's the promise, all the promise in these old stories that we have about any number of, as David Rose would call them, enchanted objects. These objects that can do special things. The invisibility cloak, the special armor that can make you invincible or whatnot. And to a certain extent, we just stack up the clothing and the armor and the stuff, and we lose the basic freedom that we might have had before. Now, the clothing that we do wear is pretty ridiculous sometimes. Again, to the emperors and the kings, you know, we can wear it to show status or to show power. We can wear it to have certain functionality, right? But at a certain level, we're wearing it for an effect. right? We're not just doing it to do it. And once we've already figured out that there's a certain wearable that does a certain thing, great. Okay, it does that thing. I mean, we've been wearing clothes since like 130,000 years or something like that, according to some of the microbiologists. And then, of course, it's just a fashion statement that says, this is me, and I'm evil, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm a Star Wars fan. To Remo. So I started the company a 2.5 years ago, when my father, who told me that story, suffered several strokes, debilitating strokes. You know, he was something of a superhero, smarter than the Warrior King, but you know what I mean? And he lost all that. He lost that strength. And I said, okay, you know, I'm supposedly a smart guy. Somebody told me that once. He did. I can do better. And I said, how do I give him that power back? How do I make him a superhero? How do I give him the capability to do the things that he could do, right? There's so many superheroes who have a special ring that gives them certain powers, or a special bodysuit or something. So let's do that, right? That's what I thought. Now this was almost 3 years ago. This is before Google Glass came out. This is when I said, hey, I want to put a battery in somebody's arm and have them do stuff, and people told me I was nuts. And I looked at it and I said, okay, well, you know, let's just look at how do we solve the problem. After the stroke, he was an invalid. He was vulnerable. He was powerless. He, you know, could go on the battlefield feeling strong, and he wasn't strong. He's in the command chair, like lots of dads get in that command chair, and they feel like they can do anything for the TV, etc. But he couldn't even get natural light in, because he couldn't get up. So I started to analyze this ubiquitous computing environment that Crystal mentioned earlier. Around us, especially in the smart home, you have 4 major areas. You have the climate, you have the media, the security, and the lighting. I said, okay, if you're in this scenario, how do you control those things? How will you get around it? I have a background in speech recognition area, and I knew that you could talk at the environment and try to get it to work, but it wasn't fully robust. Not just in terms of what the technology could do, but in terms of how it would function. And I'm happy to talk with you guys about that, maybe in the question and answer. But I realized that the speech was a little bit like a keyboard. I could do fine input, but I couldn't get something easy. And so I looked at this issue and I said, okay, what are the different opportunities that exist to control this environment? What are the connected devices, like the Nest thermostat, like the smart home technology that you see in the world? And I realized that as we increase the number of these connected devices, we're going to reach a scalability problem. It's not reasonable to take out the phone, turn it on, unlock it, find the app in the phone, go through the menu, find the room that you're in, and then find the particular light, for example, that you want to control. This is a ridiculous proposition, actually, when you have multiple devices. It's cool when you have one thing, but it's ridiculous when you have, as Gartner reports, 500 of these things by like 2020. That's actually kind of loopy. And then furthermore, how do you navigate that world? How do you actually deal with it? How do we get we've got the devices are coming that are enchanted. They're magical. They have superpowers. We don't. All we've got is, honestly, more computing power than they had to put a man on the moon in everybody's pocket. We use it to play Angry Birds, but you know, how are we going to do that? How is that going to scale? And I realized that the experience I needed to create for my father, and actually for anybody, to deal with that world needed to be exceptionally simple. It needed to be as simple as using a mouse on a computer screen. It needed to be as simple as pointing and gesturing at anything I wanted. I wouldn't have to speak at the device and go through the whole issue that everyone has when they talk on the phone. They say, you know, say this. It's like, did you mean that? No, I didn't mean that. You point at it, you got it. It's got to be that simple. And I began to realize that once you kind of create this magic, it's not just for the person who can't get around. It's for everyone. So that led me to design Remo. Remo is a wrist-worn gesture control for the Internet of Things. It's effectively a smartwatch that does more than just tell you that you got an email that you're going to check on your phone, although it can do that too. I'm wearing one right now. And at the time I was like, great, I've got this great idea, I really want to make something happen, and I really want, this is what I want Gizmodo to say this about my company. This is what I want, right? And everybody's going to be able to use it, and it's going to be great. Right? Isn't that what everybody wants? Like, I've got this idea, I want to go make it happen. Yeah? Who here has ever had an idea that they're like, yes, this is awesome? Raise your hand. It's okay. Yeah. Excellent. See? Yeah? So everybody's like, yeah, this is going to happen, right? This is where I started. Actually, this is further along than where I started. Where I originally started was I broke a bunch of like children's toys and soldered them together and stuck them through breadboards and whatnot. This is actually a more advanced version. That's actually a toilet paper roll cut in half with duct tape and a watch attachment thing I picked up at Target. That's pretty bad, isn't it? My PhD's in linguistics, by the way, not double E, so it was a pretty brutal trek, okay? Within a little bit of time, we got to here. Do we have volume?
You just went to my
Oh. Oh.
It's kind of quiet.
You guys can see the light, right? Okay. We're gonna need volume for the video. Okay, so how do I?
Not sure how to do it.
No, it's okay. We're still good? There we go. So what is Remo? Remo is a system encompassing the Remo band, as well as a free app and receivers. These receivers are optional, but they allow you to expand the universe of the devices that you can control. It might seem a little bit abstract, but if you can imagine, well, this is more abstract, if you can imagine the links when you surf on the web, on your screen, washed over the world, and that you can now click on those. That's what those receivers do. They tell you that, what's that, Pete?
Did anyone park your white Volkswagen in front of the building? Yeah. Yours isn't white, Nicole. Anyway, there's a white Volkswagen blocking one of the garage doors in front of the building. Okay, as long as it's not anyone's here. Is that common?
We now return to the wearable talk, already in progress. Yeah, so in either case, Remo works essentially by giving you the power to point in the direction of the devices you want to control, or to sense that you've entered the room and using gestures contextually control things in a very intuitive way. If I want to increase the intensity, decrease the intensity, change the state, I just point at the thing I want to control and do what I need to do to select it and control it. On the tech, we've got, right now we've got up to a 4-day battery life. We're trying to bring that up. We have a 9-axis IMU, and we work with 90% of the smart home market, all across America and Canada, and some European companies as well. You guys, we've worked with Microsoft, we worked with Nest, SmartThings, etc. You know, just to plug the developer program thing, it pays to be early. If you join now, if you join our developer program now, then you'll be upgraded. So you get in now if you order one. Then when we come out with our future versions, if you're one of the first 1,000, you will continuously be upgraded, which is kind of, you know, the one bad thing about being super early is that you don't know if you're gonna, you know, be obsolete the next week. Access to the developer forum, example code, all the stuff you'd expect. If you're a developer and you want to do crazy things with wearable tech, you should definitely talk to us. Some of our developers have spoken about the applications that they see for Remo tech, namely for either, you know, family members who they're worried about, which is, you know, why I originally created it, but also for how they can control their home, things that they can do. We even had some people who came up with some ideas for some games that involved Remo tech. I think it might be a little bit. I want to do the video now. I think it might be a little bit. Who here's heard of Remo before? Okay, a good set of folks. Cool. So we're just going to give you a little taste of something that's not out yet, but it's not out yet. It's not even finished yet. But for those of you who don't completely see what the world looks like and how powerful the Emperor can now be with something that really works, once we get this to happen, you'll see it. And we need volume.
Tested this before, right?
Not with the volume.
Hi. And I'm right. And I'm confident monologue guy, here to take over your generic and unsatisfying commercial. Do you like these? Do you like these? Of course you don't. You yearn for something greater. You want control. I have control. I can give you control with this. With a flick of my wrist, I can rock this baby. I can rock this baby's world. I can rock your world. And in doing so, I rock my own world. Rocking my world is child's play with Remo. It's so easy, even a child can use it. And so can Grandpa. Nice job, Gramps.
Now we're cooking. Woo-hoo! Remo, me!
With Remo, I can open this door and unleash a sea of hat-wearing kittens. That's the door open. Now, generic viewer, I know what you're thinking because I always know what you're thinking. Is this sorcery? No. Because science, technology, the future, your future. Why is there an explosion? Because there's always an explosion. Beautiful. Romance. Get real.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the slide. All right, so I don't know why it was stalling on the computer. It doesn't stall normally like that, but I hope that for those of you who are a little bit confused about what the world looks like at Playtabase and with Wearable Technology, that's kind of what it looks like, plus a little Old Spice. It's effortless control. It's the ability to reach out and control the things that are around you. This is markedly different from a lot of the wearables out there, and I've been very encouraged by, for example, what Samir's doing. And I mentioned this in my talk at healthcare.mn. Please, for God's sake, don't make another fitness wearable. We don't need them. right? Yeah, we don't need it. It's a question of why a wearable in the first place, right? Why? Why do we wear what we wear? Do we wear it for protection? Do we wear it for fashion? Do we wear it to help us make sure that we either don't bend too far or that we don't bite our teeth, which I do, and I'm on the beta tester list, and I can't wait for that. Right? Why is it wearable? Why does it need to be in that form factor? It can't just be because it's hot. That's not going to get it. I mean, it could get it, but that puts it in the Me Too category, right? So we chose the form factor so that it was something that was always with you, that it was effortless, that you felt a natural extension. You're not thinking, right? It's natural to point at things and wave at them as you talk about them, right? The experience is intended to be seamless. So those of you who are interested in coming by and trying it out yourself, you're free to reach out to us, getremo.com/dev, or you can hit me up on my Twitter at MuhammadScript. That's my Twitter handle, at MuhammadScript. Excuse me. And yeah, we'd love to have you join our developer program and learn more about Remo. Thank you so much. Questions? Yes.
Why did you not do the voice?
Why didn't I do voice? Let's see. So background on me. So I completed my PhD in linguistics in July, on July 31st. So the same day that we started working with Microsoft and American Family was the same day I got my PhD, which was like weird because I was like pitching them and getting, okay, never mind. Anyway, why not the speech recognition? Who here has ever tried to search the web without a mouse? Has anybody ever been stuck without a mouse and had to press it? Raise your hand high. It's okay. You don't. Yeah. You have to press the tab button to get through everything. Isn't that ridiculous? Okay. So that's the first thing. Is that shows you the value of having that kind of gestural input, where having just the keyboard doesn't give you the fine-grained elements. It would be a lot harder to say pick light A27 in SVL in this room, or I don't know that it's light A27. I don't know that it's computer screen B23, and I can't. I'd have to be able to see it maybe, but I can't remember that. It's not as immediately scalable. Whereas if we had to do the same thing, where we'd have to type out what link we wanted to click every time we wanted to do it. There's another element too in referencing items in a 3D space. It's actually ridiculously difficult to understand between humans, let alone to program. So for example, if I were to say, Pat, turn off that light. Which light do I mean, Pat? Right? We can disambiguate these things a lot more easily with gesture. You could solve it by having omnipresent cameras watching people at all times and watching which way their eyes are pointing. And maybe in some period of time, people will feel perfectly comfortable with that kind of all-the-time surveillance. But otherwise, it's actually very difficult to achieve. And so that was one of the factors in why I went this way as opposed to trying to focus on the speech recognition. Does that make sense?
I understand.
Great, thank you. There's some more questions in the back.
Does your control system learn? So in the sense that when you're coming into a room, you'll oftentimes do the same thing. So you've got awareness of where you're at, who is wearing it,